Well, hello, everybody, and welcome to the Coaching Center podcast. It is awesome to be here. And this podcast will be interviewing business owners, entrepreneurs, and people with powerful stories in order to empower those who listen and hopefully make a change in a business owner's life, an entrepreneur's life, or in a person's life. So today, I thought in this first episode that it would be the best thing to actually interview my partner, Carolina Alvarez, who is a counselor here at Change MFCR, and she is also the owner, uh, uh, and my wife, of course. So, everybody, welcome Carolina Alvarez.
Thank you.
So, let's start. So, I'm going to interview you. Really ready for this?
I'm ready.
This is going to be a little awkward because I already know these answers, but let's see what we could do. So, tell me about yourself.
So, my name is Carolina Alvarez. I have been a counselor for 14 years. I love helping humans improve their life, heal from their past, and I'm really passionate about helping people.
All right, that's awesome. And I could vouch for that. I've been working with her for now over 8 years, right, together. And yeah, she definitely has a passion for this. Um, so I'm going to ask questions that I'm actually curious about to try to get some new insight into what you are or what you do. So why did you get into counseling?
I've always, since very young, I had a passion for helping people. When I was 14 years old, I started going to a group in Colombia that helped kids and very poor people. These people live in a mountain made out of garbage. Very poor. They had nothing. So my love for helping humans started there. We would go every weekend, bring them food, play with them, and teach them. And that's where it developed. I did that for about 6-7 years. And then I came here to the U.S. and I wanted to continue that passion. So I signed up for school, completed my bachelor's and my master's in counseling. And it all started there.
What I'm just curious, actually, and I've never really asked this, but when you went to these places, you said they lived on like a garbage mountain?
Yes.
What did that look like? Because I come from poverty, but not that poor, right? I've never lived in a mountain of garbage. So what does that even look like?
So it's outside of the city. This is where they would go dump the trash from the city, and that became a mountain, right? A pile. And what happened was people, because of violence and poverty from the rural places, ended up moving back like towards the city, but the city was too expensive. So they settled. This is like compounded trash for years.
So like the Florida mountain on the highway where
Yes,
you see the trash.
exactly like that. But no green, no grass. So these people would come and settle there and build their homes there. These homes were built out of with tin roof, tires holding them up, walls made out of whatever materials they would find. And when you would go in the homes, you would find 6-7 people sleeping in 2 mattresses. Some of them had no shoes, no clothes. They would eat what they could find for the day.
So what would you do? Like you would go over there, and what would you do for them? How would that work?
So it started with it was a church group, and this pastor created a group for teenagers, right, for us to learn what that was, like for us to be grateful for our. Yeah, so we would collect throughout the week clothes, medicine, food, and every weekend we would bring those things. The kids would be waiting for us at the train station because they were excited. They knew.
I imagine they didn't have much, so It's like a light of hope coming through from the
Every
train.
week, every week. And if we want to show up, it was a problem because they were truly waiting on that. So what we would do, we would play with the kids. Another group of people would cook. It was
Also, it wasn't only food; it was more. It was other things I mean, when you live in those conditions, playing is not. You don't think about those. The playing is really rough, right? You're
yeah,
thinking about hunger, and so to have somebody come from the outside and play, I can see how that would actually do more than just feed their tummies. It would give them some hope, right?
yeah,
Because here are people that they don't know, people that are not in their situation that don't have to be there, right? And they're coming and I can see how that would be awesome. So let me ask you this. So you're a counselor. I know that, obviously. And you can, and you've done it before, you've worked in like these big organizations where you get health insurance, 401k, retire, all that good stuff. Like, right? You get a salary. Being an entrepreneur, me being an entrepreneur for over 20 years, it's rough. It doesn't always go as planned. It doesn't always go the way it's supposed to go. And sometimes, you wonder why you're doing it. So if something like counseling, right? You can go get one of those jobs very easily. Not only that, it's, counseling is not like a big money maker in the entrepreneur world, right? You don't become a millionaire entrepreneur for owning an agency. You're doing it for another reason, like you mentioned, for helping people. So why have a business doing it? What made you just say like, I'm gonna do a business, I'm not gonna work anymore in these places and just do a business? Why?
so at the beginning, I myself couldn't understand that either. It was very scary to make the transition from that very cushioned place to the unknown. But the reason why I did it was because I saw while working in these big organizations that there's a lot of, you can't do this because, or yes, we will help people, but, and there was always a but. There was always a limit or how much we could do for them, or be careful with doing some of these things because of liabilities. In the entrepreneur world, it's not that you don't have those liabilities, but you can take the time to think about the human first and how to help the human and how to lessen the liabilities.
So you have more control
More control.
because you're a thinker, like an entrepreneur solves problems. So you have the time. That is what your job is, right? When you work in these organizations, everybody's working for a machine. So
Right.
nobody's sitting there and thinking, how do we make this better? You see, that's the magic of being an entrepreneur, because that is your job as an entrepreneur to solve problems. Uh, so you take time to do that. That's part of the art form, right?
Yes.
In these big companies, you don't do it because it's not your company. You're part of a cog in the big machine.
Right. And you also think that, like, because you're told how to, when to, then you just go and do. And there's nothing wrong with that.
But it doesn't solve some of the problems. Like, because I'm going to tell you, as you know, right, and anybody that knows who I am knows, counseling has been a big part of who I have become. Without it, I don't know what I would have done. But during the time that I was very poor, it was impossible to get. And I tried, but I don't know, the doors closed. And then the places that do offer, but I'm not saying all are like this, but where I was going that do offer some type of program, I didn't feel comfortable,
Right.
because it felt like nobody wanted to be there. I know now there's a lot of programs, I can't name them here, but one of them that you work for was really good,
Yeah.
and they're doing it. They're doing it. But I can see how, as an entrepreneur, having more control of it, you can do more, right? Because there's times, and I've seen it, there's times you don't charge, right? If you can do it, you can do that, and these big companies can't offer that if the company's not offering that.
Right. So,
But you could. You do it. I've seen you do it at times where somebody says they can't pay, and it's so important, right? So that being said, what inspires you in the industry?
So my inspiration comes from going through every single session and hearing my clients tell me that they solved a problem, or they're making improvements, or they took one little tiny step into their happiness or their healing. So every tiny little step or every big accomplishment is, I don't know, it's like a gold coin for me. So, because we work really hard and everybody's different. Everybody, like in counseling, you might, one little tiny step, sometimes for some people is a ginormous accomplishment. So it's just, that's what keeps me going and into it.
Okay, so do you see yourself doing this like forever, or do you think you're gonna be one day just like do something else? I'm just curious.
I see myself helping humans forever. My opening line when I meet every single one of my clients is, my purpose in life is to help as many people as possible. So I will continue to do that. I don't know how it's going to look for the rest, but I love what I do. So, and I'll continue to help people.
Awesome. Okay, so I'm gonna ask you this. I asked every entrepreneur that is in a certain business, what do you think counts the industry of counseling? And let's say more in private practice, because that's what you do, right? What is it missing in order to improve for the community and for the industry as a whole?
So, the community, in the past year, we've seen massive improvements in the acceptance of mental health and people recognizing how important it is. So that has been a great improvement, but it's still a lot of things that need to continue to improve.
What?
Acceptance of.
But what do you mean accepting? Like people accepting mental health, or the industry accepting mental health itself? Like, what do you mean?
Both. So people, the families, people taking their kids and their family members and promoting it and normalizing counseling, like going to the doctor. So that part. And then in the industry, I don't know, it's just, I think that sometimes counselors need to not forget that we work with humans and that we're here to help. And I think that you find yourself with some counselors that, I don't know, that they forget. They forget that it's a job or money.
Well, why do you think actually we talked about this? Yeah. Let's just probably gonna get us in trouble, but but let's talk about it because we talk about it a lot, right? Because we've seen it, we see it and we go like, what's going on? Like, like how can you not do something? But okay, but why do you think it gets there? Because anybody that gets into this industry, right? I'm in this industry, but not as a counselor. I just manage the agency. Anybody and everybody that gets into this type of industry is doing it because they want to make a difference. There's no other way. I saw you when you were going to school. I see other counselors as we see them getting licensed, that they know that they're not going to become millionaires from this thing. They know they're going to be able to have a career and then be able to take care of their families. But the ultimate dream of that everybody has of becoming rich is not going to happen. You know that from the beginning. So what happens? Why does it? I have a theory, but I want to ask you as a counselor, what happens?
I think I don't know exactly, but I do think that sometimes because we see so much and we hear so much, maybe it starts building a little bit of a shell around. And we just got to be very aware of that and make sure that we're constantly checking in with ourselves and that the reasons why we're doing it. The minute that we forget the reason why we're doing it, then I don't think we're doing good work.
Yeah, I think that ties into what I think it is.
So tell me what
motivation.
Tell me.
They lose the motivation for it. It becomes a job. It just becomes a job. They don't see the importance. They know it's important, right? But they don't understand the purpose around it, like the magic of being a person that can help someone not commit suicide, being a person that can help someone get out of a trauma that affects them for their whole life. Like I think they forget that. Like and so they lose motivation and it becomes a job. And it's not all. We have the counselors here are great. They love what they do, right? And we know a lot of them I help other private practices, and I see them. They love it. It's just certain situations, right? And I think that's what it is. They lose the purpose of it. They lose the motivation of it. So it just becomes a regular job. So how does it change?
Um, so I agree with you. I think you're correct. It is, you can find yourself losing motivation. So I don't know exactly how to change it. I go back to maybe just taking time to reflect on the why you're doing it. And if the why is not clear anymore, then stopping and finding it so you can continue to do it for the right reasons and to continue to help people, because that's really when you go back to look at what is it that we do. If you don't care about helping people, then you're not going to be doing good work.
As a business person, if you don't care about what you're doing, you're not going to build a successful business. What you're going to become is simply an individual that builds a job that can just work, right? So it's the same types. If that's the thinking that you don't love this, because that's important when you open a business, unless you're a millionaire, that's an investor. If you're an investor, it doesn't matter. You don't need love for it because you have the resources to just put into something. But when you don't have those resources, you're gonna have to like at the last inning, like work and like put in so much into it. You can only do that when you love what you're doing. You can only do that when there's a purpose attached to it. I think they should find whoever these counselors that are in that situation, and if they're hearing, that are in a situation where they don't see it anymore in this, they don't have the love for it. I think you should go back to why you started doing it. How does it connect to your overall purpose in life? Is it to really build a business? Then if it's to build a business, then you got to find the love of building that business. If you find the love of the building that business, then you know your brand is everything. Taking care of your clients is everything to a brand, and then you will go right back to doing what you do best. So, and I think more support. I think okay, that's another thing. It's not only their fault, right? The industry, as someone that manages agencies, right? It's a lot of work.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my God. Like it's not just seeing a client and calling it a day. That's not like even half the work, really. That's just some of the work, right? There's so much more, a lot of legal landmines that you have to avoid. And in order to avoid it, it goes from when you're seeing the client to avoiding the landmines in the background when you're doing paperwork and in the beginning. There's like it's a lot. So I think another thing, and I'm saying this as a business coach, is I think counselors need to get support. I see a lot of counselors who are trying to do it on their own with no admin.
Right.
That's a big thing in this private practice that I see. I didn't know this.
Right.
They're trying to do it with no admin to save money.
Right.
But what's happening is they're getting, because I do it all day for you guys, right? So it's stressful work, right? And it's very tedious work. And what's happening is you're losing motivation in that area because of that area. So when you get back to, I can't do it. I'm a coach and I separate my days. I have my administrative days for you and your crew, right? And I have my coaching days. I can't do both of them at the same time.
Right.
To switch is ridiculous. You can't do it. If I'm dealing with an insurance and it was a rough thing, and then if I go to coaching right after that, I'm in a bad mood.
Right.
It's gonna come out in my session. So I think one of the solutions is, and I might be biased because I do provide that service, but seriously, you don't have to hire me, but do it for yourself, do it for your clients, hire that support, hire a virtual assistant. They're cheap. They're $10 to $15 an hour off country. Hire someone to help you take care of that, right? And what's going to end up happening is you're going to make more money.
Yes.
Doesn't that happen with you since
So when we first started I here in our place, and you were transitioning, it was really difficult to do all of those things. The actual seeing the clients and then switching to doing the paperwork and making sure that you would bill. And stuff will fall through the cracks because it was impossible to take care of all of it. And then when you're ready to, once you saw a full caseload of clients, you just don't have the mental, physical energy to go do all of that extra work. And it's a lot of work. But it has to be done to maintain the business healthy.
It's a lot if you want to grow a business
Right.
and make good money
Right.
doing it. You know, you could just put it together and just go. But if you really want it where you're making money, that you're hiring other clinicians, that you're doing, you have to do a lot of work. So what happened once I started, because that's what happened. You told me you couldn't do it, and I said, okay. You know, I came off this business doctorate degree of administration. I'm like, all right, you know what? I'm gonna get in it and I'll be part of the business. And I took over that completely. So what ended up happening to you as far as revenue, as far as motivation? What happened once you not, because you don't take care of that, do
Right.
you? You
No,
just,
not
see
at all.
clients.
That's it.
That's it.
So it fully renewed my love for doing it. So first it was the ability to just focus on the clinical part, which is what every counselor wants to just do. Just counseling and go, yeah, and if you're good at it and it flows, awesome. So that was the best part for me. Not only that gave me more time to be able to have client contact, which is what makes you the money. The more clients you see, the more you can go out there. It also opened up space to be able to do more of what I like, which is to be able to give and do pro bono, because now the hours I was spending on billing, on documentation, on all of that stuff in the background, answering the phone. Okay,
Actually,
that's another one.
That's it. Right there, by you getting a person to handle your phone calls, you know, I'm gonna tell you that revenue increases immediately.
Yes.
Immediately.
Yes.
You know, so yeah, if we were talking to other private practices, that would be it.
And if you go back and think about the progression of our business after that happened, is right, because then you can bring in more counselors to do now what I was doing, because we had the administrative piece.
And not even that. How about if you don't want more counselors? How about finding other opportunities, like speaking as a mental health professional and getting $5,000 per speech? Or how about doing that because you have somebody hunting those things for you?
Correct.
Partnerships is everything. Collaboration is everything. Every entrepreneur who succeeds understands that you have to be a collaborator. If you don't know everything, it's impossible, and you can't do everything. Having partnerships is everything. So yeah, that wasn't where this was supposed to go, but yes, that would be the number one thing. Okay, so getting back to you, what has been the most important thing in your life or in the business that has helped you build skills, helped you build uh, things to succeed in this business? Like what has inspired you to push harder in business, not in mental health, in business?
So what really inspires me to keep pushing in business is my family. I love my family over everything in the world. So to succeed in our business and to keep pushing required me to work harder, make sure I was doing good work, because I wanted to be able to maintain our family and and give us all a good life while maintaining like healthy boundaries between work and the family. So that's what drove me.
Okay, so I'm gonna bring it up. I know everybody's tired of it. Coronavirus, right?
Mm-hmm.
When that came, that changed everything in the mental health industry as far as seeing clients. One of the biggest changes were virtual.
Yes.
Right? You guys hated it. You remember? I used to tell you, you gotta build something and do it virtually, and you were like, no, nobody wanted it. It was, but I built it anyway, and then it came, the virus, and we were ready to go. But now, where is that at?
So It was probably up to like 6 months to a year ago that everything was virtual. But after that, I would say 80% of the calls that we get are people asking for the services they really want in person. There's still people that want it virtual, but they are truly looking for that human connection to go into the office and have the experience of just being in front of the person.
So if you own a private practice, right? Listen to this. The trend is more towards in person.
That's what we're seeing right now.
There's some counselors that donated, they're fully booked, right? The longer you've been doing this, the more you have your return client. But for those that are looking for new clients, find yourself an office. Find yourself an office, find yourself an administrator. That's what I would do. That would increase your fold, that would increase your revenue. So, anything else that you would like to share about business or me? No, I'm only playing just the business. Anything else that you think people should know about you or the business?
So, about the business is any person that's considering, I have the luxury to have worked in community mental health and then moved to my private practice. If you are considering that, do it. Not because I think community mental health is amazing and it helps a lot of people, but there is so much opportunity when you go on your own. It's really beautiful and powerful, and if you're scared, call me. We will help you out because it is.
She'll listen too. I'll get the call first,
yes.
But I'll get it to her.
And we will empower you and help you transition on that. And to all the counselors out there in the world, you just keep doing good work. The world needs more of you, and that's it.
And what do you think about the future of your practice as a business? What do you have any ideas or where are you going with everything? I'm just curious.
What do you think?
No, I already know. I have plans. I'm working on them. But okay, so the future of counseling, what do you see in the future?
I actually think that counseling, because of the trend, well, thanks to TikTok, because they are doing an amazing job at promoting mental health with our youth.
Yeah, they give me stuff.
Seriously, yes. Oh, I have clients that walk in and tell me what diagnoses they have already.
Do you use that? Not use it when they say something. Okay, first, I got questions. I got plenty of questions.
Go for it.
Okay, so first, how many times, like when somebody comes and says, I saw this on TikTok, diagnosis, how many times are they right? Like, not only, you can't tell me exactly, but your feel right now, does it lean towards there's more right than wrong or more wrong than right?
I think it's a mix. Some people will be completely wrong, and they're just like everything that they see, they're like, I'm that. Like they make it qualified, but I think what it does is it makes the person stop and think about their behavior, their relationships, what they're reflecting. So regardless of whether it's right or wrong, they're pausing and coming in and showing you, I think there's
some time on myself last night.
So what happens is, if they're right or wrong, what I do is, okay, let's look at it together. Then I pull out my DSM and be like, do you qualify? Do you not qualify?
Wow.
And then we take it from there.
Actually, that's pretty cool. That's working on yourself.
Yes.
With a counselor, in collaboration with your counselor. Holy crap. Holy cow. Sorry. Yeah, that's actually cool. So there's a lot. So, okay. So is there more benefits to this being on the social media now than
Yes.
What are the non?
So the non-benefits is that we have noticed that in our society right now, people want a label, right? So a lot of people want to subscribe to something. They want a diagnosis. And what I tell my clients is, diagnosis is just, it's a word, and it gives you a guide. It will tell you what are some areas that we should be looking into. And it shows, it's kind of like a map, but it doesn't tell you exactly how to get there. So what I do with my clients is we stop and we reflect, okay, what is it that that's just a name. What is it that you want to accomplish from there? Do you want to be happy, or do you want to learn how to manage that anxiety? Do you want to heal from your past? That's just a word. The diagnosis is just that word. It doesn't tell you how to get there. So come in, let's do the work so we can get there.
So what you're saying is that it's good, but just make sure that you go talk to your counselor after you get there. Like make sure that that you're collaborating with a professional. So it's good to self-discover. It's good to like, okay, do I have that? Is that possible? But you have to go like, you gotta go talk to a counselor. So
yes, you should. And it's really cool. All of my new clients that I have are all coming in with very, like, they're so self-aware. Like, they know what they want to work on. They know what are their symptoms. I think it's beautiful. I've never seen that in the industry, and I've been on this business for 14 years.
So let's go back to what you started saying when I asked you what is it missing or what needs to be more of. I don't remember exactly how, but you said like acceptance of it. So it is happening.
Yes.
Now being more accepted, people understand. Yeah, because when I grew up, that's what counseling wasn't like a real thing. Like we would like, coming from, that, what is it called when culture will be,
From our culture, yeah.
what was a stigma? It was a stigma. It was like me, see a counselor, they can't do nothing for me. It was that type of mindset. And the day that it changed my life. But so that's happening more now. Do you see more people? Do you see more people like me coming to see people like you?
Yes.
Yes, more people
definitely.
that have had that change.
Yes. And not only that, we see, because kids are so in tune right now, they want it, they are promoting it to their parents. So what happens is parents that were not into it or did not believe it, or culturally that is not accepted, because their kids are asking for it, and the social media is throwing it at them, then it's making them rethink. And because the society is normalizing the need and the use of mental health, it's going in that direction. It's really powerful.
Soon it's going to be, and I see it like now as the administrator, and I'm going to tell you, I call a lot of companies now when we're dealing with insurance, and now that it's classified as medical, there's some companies that it is no longer. Before it's a different department. It's like it's not a medical thing. If you want medical, you get medical. If you're asking about a client, but now you call and it's the same.
Yeah.
And it was funny when it first started happening that I'm like, I'm trying to get to the mental health side. They're like, no, you're in the medical. I'm like, yeah, but I need mental health. No, you're in the medical. And it took me a while to understand. It's the same. So now it's coming to be understood as it's medical, and it is, right? It's just as important as you're getting your lungs fixed or getting your throat fixed. Anything, it's just as important. So yeah, it's happening, right?
Right.
And I think it's because of people like you and your crew. Your counselors here. You guys are
the counselors
pushing.
here are amazing. Everyone that works here, that is a requirement to work at Change MFCR. You have to genuinely care for people. If not, you can't, because
The ones that don't last here.
that's exactly
They
what
do
happens.
not last here because it doesn't fit. That's what we do. You have to care about this. That's what the business is. This is a business about people. You're not selling plungers.
Right.
You're servicing people
and
their minds.
and their family and,
so,
and their future.
And their heart.
Yeah.
So if you're not that person that's going to be there, that wants to do that, I don't think you're a fit. I think you should go sell plungers. But so
yeah, I wanted to say something about counseling. I think that people that haven't tried it should really. What I've noticed, we were using a program that when I first started didn't exist. I think, or I wasn't aware of. It's EAP, and EAP makes like really short sessions that come in for you to work on a problem. And usually, like, your company will give you like 5-6 sessions. Well, there's some out there that give you a lot, but that is really cool because I think that has also helped the industry too, for people to walk into counseling. It's not like you're going to be in counseling for a year. You walk in, you work on that problem that you had with your family for 5-6 sessions, and you
work on something else now because you saw it work.
Yes. Yeah. And the ones that didn't, or not that it didn't, that you resolved that one problem, then they just go on about their life, and life is a little bit better.
Do you think most companies have the EAP? Is that like a big?
It's a huge thing right now, and that's.
And if you're a company out there and you don't have it,
you should.
You should. If you manage more than 10 people, you should have it, because they, as an IO psychologist, they work better. Coming to work with all these problems, you're not gonna do the work. Being able to go get it off your chest, they come into work to work, and they appreciate you because they appreciate the work because they were able to take care of that problem because you had a benefit for them. So if you're a business out there, I'm a psychologist, go get you some EAPs. Just get it. I'm telling you.
It works.
Yeah. All right. So this was actually awesome. Anything else that you think people should know about counseling or about you or about our agency? Anything?
So about counseling, you should give it a try if you haven't. If you haven't done it in a while, go get a tune-up. For us, for our agency, if you are considering counseling, I would love for you to stop by our website and take a look. We have an amazing, incredible team of people that love to help people, that care. If you're questioning it, give us a call, because our amazing administrator will be taking care of you and making sure that you get all of your questions answered and getting you set up. And just mental health is as needed as medical health. That's it.
And now that you said that, I actually have one more question for you. And this is a question I ask when I coach counselors. I have a lot of clients that are counselors, right? And I'm coaching their business. One thing you do when you're doing marketing is, right, you wanna think like your client. What are they looking for? So one of the things I asked them, I think now I should ask you, because I think but I want, not because of marketing. I'm really interested in somebody with experience. So you said if you were thinking about getting counseling, you should go try it. So what would you say to that person that has thought about it? Because I definitely went into that category, that has thought about it but is like on the edge and doesn't do it. What would you tell them to like push them? Well, that's not the right word. To like guide, encourage it. You see, a counselor, encourage them to just try it one time. What would you tell them right now? They're listening. They're only listening because they've thought about getting counseling, but so they're saying if we say anything that might encourage them to use their EAP or use their insurance, what would you, as a counselor, for real? I'm talking about for real now. What would you tell them?
This answer comes from seeing so many people that after they've gone through counseling, they tell me that they were really happy that they gave it a try. What I suggest is that you just go in with an open mind and talk. The worst thing that can happen is that you didn't like it and you just don't continue. But the best thing is that you find a place. What counseling does is it is a space that allows you to take your problems out of your heart, your brain for a moment, putting on somebody else, so you can then look at them from a different perspective, find some solutions by yourself or together by bouncing it off of each other, a neutral person. And then you bring them back in, you keep them because they are your problems, but now you have solutions. So with a good counselor, with good counseling, you'll be able to find that. If that doesn't happen in the first, second, third session, or with that counselor, go find another one. How many people can say that they have been with the same exact doctor for their entire life? Nobody.
I've never, I don't remember how many doctors.
Right. You keep moving until you find the right person, and you will. You will if that is what you want for yourself.
Scared. I was scared. I didn't know what it was. I was scared of going and what. But then I realized there's none. I think privacy is one. about that? What's the privacy like?
Oh, privacy for counseling is the best. It's the safest place for you to come and throw up everything that you have in your heart and your brain and your mind, and nobody can say anything. Well, unless you're talking about, by law, unless you're talking about harming yourself, harming somebody else, abuse or neglect. In that,
So that means I could come to you and say something that I've never been able to tell anybody.
yes.
Anything, whether it's about my sexuality, whether it's about someone I don't like, whether it's about anything. I could,
Yes.
for the first time, for a person that's never been counseled, you're able to just say it and not care because that's your job. Your job is to sit there and take it, right? So that's the benefit of it.
Yes.
I'm not trying to diss on you as a counselor, but I'm trying to show somebody that that's the benefit. That's the person's job. They're not. You guys don't even judge people, right? You can because you hear so many different stories, and usually like these stories, they're everybody's going through these stories, right? Everybody's like going through these stories, so you don't look at it and be like, oh my god, right? There's none of that.
No, you can't. And if you show up to a session with someone and you feel judged, you show up a second time and that's what you're feeling, then stop and go find yourself another counselor that you won't feel that. Exactly.
I have had, and not all of them. I've had some that one session I don't go back because I didn't feel comfortable.
Right.
I felt like they were judging me, but there are the ones that take their jobs for real seriously. And I don't know, I have said some crazy stuff to my counselor and they don't even budge. They ask me, well, how did that make you feel? You know, like
Right.
they made me feel normal. Like, man, that wasn't that big of a thing. That's what happens. I thought it was such a big thing because I've never been able to tell anybody else and compare reactions. But when talking about it, it's made it like, oh, that's not that bad. I'm not that bad, or this is
Right.
I can
You
fix
gain-
this. I can fix this.
You gain a different perspective on that thing.
All right. So you recommend counseling.
I highly recommend counseling.
No bias.
No bias.
You just say.
Not at all.
I do too. All right. Anything else you want to let people know? I don't know. I've said it. You keep saying something, and we'll get back
Sorry.
into it. So what else? Anything? What's your goodbye?
My goodbye is that humans are awesome, and we all have problems, and we all have some form of trauma. So if you're out there thinking that you don't or that yours is less, so you shouldn't be getting counseling because yours is not as big as your neighbor's or your sister, don't think that. Stop and go talk to someone because it is very helpful. And just keep being awesome because humans are awesome.
Yep. And I'll close with what you're saying. I actually say that in coaching to people. Don't compare your problems to other people's because everyone has their end of the world, right?
Yeah.
They have different experiences. So as they go through the different experience, some things might seem more horrible to one than the other, but that's their experience. So everybody has their end of the world. So on the other note, I say don't judge others when they say something and you don't feel like it's so much of a problem. Don't sit there and go, that's not a problem. For them it is.
Yeah.
Because of their experiences and what they've been through. So yeah, that's it. So thank you for joining me, Carolina, on our first podcast ever. Hopefully we do many more with great entrepreneurs like you. Listen, just keep doing it. Seriously, keep doing what you're doing, and I will keep on supporting you in doing it because I love to empower humans, and we are empowering humans together. We're empowering businesses together. We're empowering whoever we come across, and we just got to keep doing it because it has to be done.
Yes.
That's what they chose us to do. That's our duty, and that is our assignment. So thank you for joining us here on the podcast, and hopefully you tune in, and we'll tune in next time, right?
Yep.
Have a great day.
Thank you.